Welcome back, guys. Today we are going to finish up the carnivorous tank, or paludarium, or whatever the heck this thing ended up being. I don't know what you classify this thing as. If you guys didn't see the setup video, I'll put a link for it at the top of the description, pinned comment, all the usual places, so you can check that out if you want to see that video. But you know, we really just replanted some Venus flytraps and some pitcher plants into this little portion of the tank, this glass planter box that we cut and siliconed into place here. This doesn't have any drainage. This is like a self-contained thing, and I just fill it up with distilled water and try and keep sort of a small level in here. It's very airy. The planting medium in here is sphagnum moss. It makes for a really airy but yet moist environment for the plant roots, and these things aren't the easiest things to grow. These plants do require a fairly specific environment in order to do well, and so I tried my best to provide that. So if you want to learn more information, you can go watch that other video, and I'll probably sprinkle in a few facts about these plants as the video goes along. We're going to be finishing this up, the bottom portion specifically here, and it's going to be a cold tank for my shrimps. I'm sure most of you guys are familiar with the desert tank, right? And so down in here we have a bunch of black rose shrimp that have bred out multiple times, and now we have Bloody Mary shrimp in here. We also have some fantasy blue shrimp in here. We need to cull them out, as well as the more brown shrimp. We want to make sure that we keep these nice black shrimp in here. We only want those. So this is just going to be one of the coal tanks. This tank right here, because it's so small, we don't want to put fish into it. I thought it would be a good opportunity to use this as the coal tank for the Bloody Mary shrimp. So later in the video, once we set this thing up, we'll go and we'll pull some out and then fill this tank up with as many as we can find. Other coal tank is going to be this one, and this one's going to be for the fantasy blues. Let's get this old can out of here. But yeah, we just need to get started. So let's go start on the other one. We'll get to this one another day. So let's talk about the feeding of the shrimp to the Venus flytrap. Of course, those shrimp were already dead. I'm not feeding live shrimp to these plants, guys, but really it was just an experiment, because as we all know, this is a plant that is a carnivore and can eat insects in the wild. That's what it does. That's basically the only way that it can get its main nutrition, because it's not a plant that extracts nutrients from the soil. So every once in a while, these things will need to eat. I think they can go a really long time without eating, though. I wanted to run the experiment and see if they would eat shrimp. I mean, I don't have a lot of bugs in my house, right? Like every once in a while, but the odds that a fly ends up in here, or an ant or something, I don't know, is probably not very likely. So I thought maybe I should supplement with the shrimp. I saw the opportunity, and so far, I mean, it's been like a month. It's taken forever. This is the big one that we fed that big shrimp to. It's been like a month and it's still digesting it, but I mean, this trap, the stem and everything, it looks good. It looks healthy. There's a little bit of marking on the outside of it, but so far so good, guys. Like, it might be a viable option. We'll see what happens with this new one that we just fed, this guy. A little bit smaller of a shrimp. I think that's the better way to go. So down in here, I've already started. We have Monterey beach sand, just a very thin layer. I mean, there's not a lot in here, guys. We don't need a ton of substrate. We're not going to be planting anything directly into it, okay? So I already have a moss ball right here, a Marimo moss ball, and I don't know if you can see underneath that. Probably not. That's a little foreshadowing for a upcoming video. What's going on there? But basically, all we're going to be doing is taking black lava rocks that I have here. We're going to cover them with moss, and we're going to make a little aquascape down here, because we can't just leave it bare. I mean, we could, but that wouldn't be the way that I would want to do it. So this moss has been sitting in the tub for forever. I usually have this light on right next to the greenhouse here, and it's a really good way to store your moss. So this stuff has just been waiting for a tank, and I think today we're going to take some of these pieces and attach them to those rocks and make a cool little aquascape. Before we start working on that, I feel like I should touch on this setup a little bit more, because there was a lot of, I don't want to say controversy, but a lot of different opinions about this setup and how it was going to work out. So let me just start off by saying that so far, so good. There hasn't been any problems. Like, lighting was thought to maybe be an issue. Maybe this wasn't a strong enough light source for these plants. They do need really bright light, and they are best suited for outside or in a greenhouse. But so far, so good. So the Venus flytrap, I have lost a couple of the traps, but I do have new growths here. So if we can see, there's one new growth right here. Focus on this. And then there's two more back there. So I've lost I think 2, but I'm gaining 3 over here, and they're growing quite quickly, so I'm happy about that. The pitcher plants haven't done a lot. Maybe they need a little bit more light or something, but I have been keeping the moisture in here very consistent. So again, I fill it up usually up to about here, and then a couple days that it all gets absorbed, so I just fill it back up. And again, with RODI water, because these plants do not like a high mineral count, so you just give them water that doesn't have any minerals in it, and that's the way to go. And about 2 minutes later, didn't take very long, we got our lava rocks covered with our moss here, and I opted to just use super glue instead of the fishing line. I originally thought that might be a good idea, but these mats are just so perfect that it was really easy to get that super glue on there, press the moss on, and not have a ton of it bleed through. I'm sure a little bit did, but it looks pretty good to me. So all we got to do now is kind of experiment with how we want our scape to look. Just a plug and play scape, super simple. And one thing that I do like about this too is that we can, because the scape is so simple and it's just these rocks, we can pick it up and move them around whenever we want. So if we get tired of the way it looks, very easy to tweak. Alright, so now that those are in, we need to fill the tank up, and we need to go get our shrimp. So let's talk about that. I've already baited the shrimp to the front of the tank by just putting in some food, so we have easy access to all the shrimp that we want to cull out of this tank, all the red shrimp. There's a lot of them in here, guys. I'm really surprised. But let's talk about the water for this tank. So here I have a gallon jug that I literally just pulled out of this tank, and we're gonna fill this little tank up directly with this water. Now I'm probably gonna do this one at a time because it's gonna be tough to get more than one and just the ones that I want. So right there we got too many. Get out of there, guys. I just want the red one. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. I was able to get about 8 or 9 of them in here, guys. It didn't actually take that long once I got rid of the camera out of my other hand, but they're seeming to like it so far. Just a nice little environment for them. You know, they have high surface area rocks that they can eat film off of. They have the moss, which is going to catch particulate and also be a good food source and environment for them. I think this could be a pretty good tank. And because we're getting into the summer months, it's going to be hotter in here. I tend to not use a lot of air conditioning just because, yeah, I get to take the heaters out of all my tank, and I always like to have less things plugged in, so that's really nice. The water temperature should stay at a good temp, like 74, which I think is pretty good for these shrimp. Not when you're not trying to get them to breed super fast, so the temperature doesn't need to be up at like 78 or anything like that. And it's not super cold either, so they're gonna kind of be right in the middle as terms of like growth rate and stuff like that. So over the next few days, I'm just gonna keep doing what I just did, feeding, looking for the red shrimp, pull them out and put them in here, and just try and get as many as I can out of that tank so that they don't continue to breed out red shrimp in there. Again, the target for the desert tank is to have black shrimp only. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the setup of this weird hybrid paludarium shrimp tank, whatever you want to call it, with the Venus flytraps and the pitcher plants. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll let you know if I change anything like light wise. I have an idea maybe to get a little bit of a better spread up here. Just grab like a Phoenix clip light, and I might even raise this up and put something stronger on it. Not 100% sure, but I'll be sure to make a video and keep you guys in the loop. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. If you're new, hit the notification bell so you know when I upload the next video. Check out some AQUAPROS merch. There will also be a link for that down in the description. That helps me out so much, guys. That and Patreon support means the world to me, and it's really helping me to do more fun stuff like this. So I hope you enjoy it. Thanks one more time. We'll see you guys next time.